Australia, and welcome to the Monday Dump for another week, Roy. It's been an incredible weekend. You know, I don't know where to begin, really. I am breathless with excitement.
Breathless?
Yes.
I can accept that. HCI had a wonderful weekend. I slipped over to wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen for the Eurovision Song Contest, actually. And I met up with two of my very, very good friends, that is Natasha Cronje and Soren Pilmark.
Yes, how were they?
They were marvellous people.
Yes.
Marvellous presenters. And they did some very cunning and, I think, funny things with rhyming couplets. Let's have a look at a little bit of their work now, the great Natasha
You've got
and Soren.
5 minutes to call and give your vote to the song you like best of them all.
On your TV screens, the numbers will appear, so you cannot vote in here.
All over Europe, people begin to wonder who's going to win. This song, maybe, but that song should not.
Yes, here's one that didn't win. Swedish entry, Roy.
Yes.
And let's face it, Benny and Bjorn wrote this.
Yes, it's called Listen to Your Heartbeat. It's very fresh, very new, and the band is called Friends.
Yeah.
And they do owe a little bit, I think, to the great ABBA. You've only got to half close your eyes. You can see Benny and Bjorn.
Yes. I'd say it only borrowed from them 100%.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Basically, I think they could safely sue, and there would be no court in Sweden that would deny them the royalties of this song.
Exactly. I agree with you. On the
And
other
where does
hand,
it go from there, Roy?
On the other hand, the winners, HG, that is Tanel Kadar and Dave Benton and 2XL with the song Everybody. And they're from Estonia. And I just love this song.
Do you? Why do you love it?
Doesn't get you going?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Eh?
Well, I don't think it's as good as Congratulations, which one?
No, but it's funky. It's got a funky. Come on, everybody, can you feel the beat?
Here's the result.
Oh,
here.
yeah, the result, yeah. Estonia 198. They just blew everyone away. And very excited. They're very talented, that pair. They'll really kick on.
And 38,000 people crammed into the hall there, the King of Denmark auditorium. I don't know what Danish people do apart from go to Eurovision Song Contest, but it was tremendous to see them all of Denmark gathered in one room.
I would love to see a, say, a Asia-Pacific Rim song competition.
Oh, yeah. Where would the entries come from?
They come from all over Asia.
Like Fiji.
And Fiji and Western Samoa.
Yeah.
And Guam and the United States probably and China.
Yeah.
We'd probably, obviously, you'd have to have some standards here. You'd have to say each nation should at least have an air force, in which case New Zealand wouldn't be able to enter.
Yes. OK, that is a standard.
It is a standard.
Now, I'd like to welcome tonight to the Monday Dump members of the Ambulance Drivers Service in New South Wales.
Oh, yes.
They've had a bit of a run of outs lately, and so we've invited them along to cheer them up.
Isn't that great?
It is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, and so if anybody does feel poorly in the audience, then they're in safe hands.
Because they know all that Sylvester Broche.
Do they?
Mouth to mouth.
Oh, yes, Kiss of Life.
Kiss of Life.
Yeah, do they carry the jaws of death in the ambulance?
I suppose they do.
Yeah.
No, they're terrific people. We might try and get sick later on and see what they do.
Now, look, one story that's causing a lot of talk across Australia at the moment is the Lithgow Panther. Roy, this one's right out of the box. I can't remember anything like this for about 1,000 years. It's a huge cat, a huge cat. It's so bloody big, people are terrified. All through Lithgow, they're in their houses banging up bits of plywood to keep the cat out. We've got some pictures here of the cat, Roy. Look at this thing, it's lurking. Look how quickly it moves. It's just huge. The scale is uncanny there. I make it 2 metres tall at the shoulder. There it is, lurking up a laneway there. Pictures of people scared, taking pictures from their kitchen windows down back lanes. It's a tremendously fearsome sight, and it moves so quickly. Now, Roy, obviously people are out there with the guns, spotlights, hoping to get a sniff of it. What are your do's and don'ts when approaching a bloody big cat like that?
Well, it's a dangerous animal for a start,
Yes.
HG.
Yes.
If you see it, don't move. Don't make any noise. And make sure you haven't got any uncooked meat on you. On the other hand, a bit of uncooked meat would come into its own.
Yeah.
Because you'd just hurl it, wouldn't you? And you'd think it's pretty stupid. You'd go to the uncooked meat and then you'd duck off. But my feeling is, HG, that it probably is... It belongs to an ancient species that goes back to the time when the Wallamai pine
First planted.
Yes. That is just after the last ice age. And scientists have come up with what it might look like, really, if we can have a look at it here. You get a bit of an idea. And there you've got a logie there to compare it size-wise. So that gives you a bit of an idea. So here it is.
There's the logie
There's
there.
the logie
bloody
there.
huge. Look how bloody big that logie is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enormous there. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's a bloody big, fearsome, bloody creature. And they're out there.
Are they?
So I would advise... Belly fellow. I would advise anyone in the Blue Mountains area, in the Lithgow area, to stay indoors. Stay indoors.
Should you warn people that you're after the big panther, just to let them know that if you don't turn up in 4 or 5 days, they should assume you're dead and eat?
I'd certainly let the St John's ambulance people know, HG, and probably the police. But it's marvellous to think those creatures are still out there. And I'm hoping it'll encourage a lot of kids to get out exploring.
What, with a slug gun?
Well,
just hoping to wing it.
I don't know, strictly speaking, that's legal. But, no, just go out with ropes and that sort of thing.
Nets.
Nets. Yeah, wouldn't it be great to come back with one of those? You know, it's probably just like the thylacine, like the Tasmanian tiger.
Oh, yeah. Right.
They're out there.
Yeah. You know, it's just no one sees them.
No.
Now, the great news is in rugby league circles that Hopper's back. Look, this man has done so much for rugby league. He has put rugby league on the front pages of the Washington Post, the Sun newspaper in Britain, the Greenland Trumpet and Bugle, the Ulladulla Weekly. He has put it everywhere. A man who has made rugby league the sport, the world... It's being described as the sleeping giant of world sport, rugby league. He has made the sport, the must-see sport, the must-play sport, the must-do sport in the world. And here he is, unfortunately, working on a building site, doesn't know much about lifting a bag of concrete. He's the one on the left there, and the bloke on the right's got a better grasp of the skills.
He hasn't got a bloody clue, has he?
No, he's going to do his back end. But here he is in action on the field here, and here he is, look, just trying to play the ball up in the most attractive fashion there. And those are the sort of pictures that got rugby league world attention, and it is good news to think that a number of rugby league clubs are prepared to take a chance with Hopper again. They are, HG.
I think he's been sent a lifeline by a number of clubs in the United Kingdom. Yes. Castleford, Bradford, Wigan, the London Broncos. I think just about every team is interested in having Hopper because he gets people talking rugby league again. No, that's what I like about it. Yes. And let's face it, fingermen have always done very, very well in the United Kingdom. It's a technique that they pioneered many, many years ago, and Hopper is reviving very much an old skill. Certainly whenever the Brits came out here years ago, when you used to have, you know, the British Lions coming out here, I mean, you'd wear butt plugs or anything just to keep them at bay. But I think it's terrific. I think it's terrific because it's encouraging people to think of, you know, proctology as an occupation. It's getting people going into surgeries and bending over and saying, "Doc, can you have a look and see what's happening up there?" You know, I'm a bit confused.
Is there anything wrong?
Yes. Am I clean? No, I think it's great. And Hopper, welcome back.
And if, you know, Hopper's techniques and rugby league have travelled a happy path over many, many years, I was going to say marijuana and cricket haven't been strangers, well, for very long in the circles of cricket. Certainly this week, a number of South African cricketers appear to have been caught with the green in the West Indies. Roy, this story, no surprises to you?
No surprises to me, HG. It's, look, when you're in the West Indies, as you know and I know, you can't go anywhere without a big bloody spliff coming your way. And often it would be rude to say no. Rude to say no. I know you and I, whenever we've been there with the ABC commentary team, you know, Jim Maxwell and co, and I know I'm not telling any stories, you know, Greg Matthew, you know, the whole... We just got off our faces for the best part.
5 weeks.
5 weeks, and I have no memories of the last three tours to the West Indies. I just know I had a bloody good time, and all the photographs just had me grinning, having a great time.
In a smoke haze, mate.
Yes,
yeah, that's right.
That's what's fabulous about it. And I think it's wrong to punish them. It's a cultural exchange.
Yes, that's right. You go there to find out about what happens in, say, the parks that you're touring to, Roy.
Yes, yeah. It doesn't help in cricket, but...
No, separate problem.
Separate problem.
Now, we've got an internet poll tonight, obviously, as a regular feature on the Monday Dump, and the internet poll concerns the bloody big cat.
Yes, what we call it, the Lithgow Panther.
The Lithgow Panther.
Yes, the Lithgow Panther, A, sounds really dangerous. Yes. B, sounds really interesting. Yes. C, sounds really ancient.
Yes.
D, sounds like rubbish. And That's themondaydump.i7.com.au. Get involved.
Yes, get polling now, and we'll be back with more Dump right after this.
Oh, yeah.
This news update is brought to you by the Commonwealth Bank, helping you make it happen.
Good evening. The federal government's announced a $5 million inquiry into the HIH insurance collapse. It'll also fund a rescue package for victims, which will pay for other insurance companies to take over their policies. Mr Howard won't rule out a levy on all policy holders. St Vincent de Paul wants the government to increase taxes on Australia's wealthy as more people slide into poverty. Sydney police are investigating the case of the hypnotising thief after a shopkeeper claimed he used nothing but his eyes to threaten her. In an effort to pay off its debts, a Florida museum is reluctantly auctioning what it claims are the first drawings of Mickey Mouse. And we meet the first Australian mum-to-be to have a 3D ultrasound. 3 machines are on their way here. We'll have all the details tonight in the late news.
You great lummox! Come on, move, you stinking creature! How hard can it be, big nose? 1 foot in front of the other, you 10-ton dummy! Crikey, what does it take? Move it, fatso! Oh, move, you jumbo butt! Wrinkly piece of pachyderm! Come on, move!
New cracked pepper thins.
Harvey Norman for great deals on dishwashers. Pay just $7.29 for this Westinghouse 14-place setting dishwasher and receive a bonus $50 Harvey Norman gift voucher. A Dishlex Global 312-place setting dishwasher is just $8.79 and also comes with a bonus $50 Harvey Norman gift voucher. And Fisher & Paykel's 24 dinner plate capacity double dish drawer dishwasher is great value at $14.99.
Hey, big ears. Can you change it?
Yeah, sure, in a minute.
Now, sweetie. So, did you change it?
No need to. She was dry.
Oh, sure, big ears.
Seriously, when I felt her, she was dry.
Oh, she's dry, but the nappy's full.
What a silly daddy. Huggies, the driest, most absorbent nappy.
You're going to jeopardize my case.
How far would you go?
Just tell us where we can find these guys.
For your 15 minutes.
I've got to feel someone famous.
You think you're going to get away with it, huh?
Robert De Niro. Edward Burns, 15 minutes.
Bruce McAvaney, Talking Footy Tuesdays, with Caroline Wilson, Chief Football Writer for The Age, and Robert Walls, Premiership Player and Coach. Talking Footy, Tuesdays on 7.
When Noel Campbell attacked the head of an opponent in the Group 9 Grand Final of 1957, he broke his own arm. He also broke the nose of his opposing second rower, Barry Coit, caused a depressed cheekbone fracture and such severe concussion that it had him in hospital under observation for 3 weeks. At the time, Coit was being earmarked for country first selection and missed out through injury. But far from being enemies, Coit went on to become best man at Noel's wedding. The two haven't seen each other since 1960. Noel doesn't know it, but the man he's about to meet is none other than his old football sparring partner and best man, Barry Coit.
Those reunions are tremendous. They're putting a lot of joy back in them. It's just a little way of the dump saying, putting thanks back into the 100 years that we're celebrating this year with the Centenary of Federation.
Barry and Noel had a lovely night, didn't they?
They did, they did.
Barry Coit, what a great player.
And what was nice was the ambulances had to come after about 20 minutes after we left them. And,
That's right.
It was just on exactly the same as if they were still playing rugby league. It was tremendous. And we did get an email, and I'm sorry I can't acknowledge the person who wrote the email, wondering if we could link up Wayne Johnston, the Carlton half-forward of about 1982 and the streaker of the 1982 grand final. And we will be trying to get those two together on the show later on. That's tremendous.
And Greg Chappell and the streaker who he whacked on the bottom with his bat.
Oh, it's going to be a streak-off in the reunion.
Yeah, we've got to get those two together again. We're working on it, we're working on it.
On a double bunger.
Yeah.
Now, Roy, this week, of course, I've never felt so proud to be an Australian. Sure, it's easy to be proud when you're here or, you know, representing Australia, say, at the Eurovision Song Contest, but at Cannes, that's one of the really big ones that you feel proud to be Australian at, and we're lucky enough to be there to see some fantastic scenes of unparalleled excitement when Moulin Rouge went before the judges at Cannes, and we go now to those marvellous pictures. Being back, here's Nicole, the star of the show, with obviously Root in the background. Here's the director, Baz Luhrmann, there, and they're getting on like houses on fire, and you can feel the excitement, can't you? You can feel the excitement oozing. And look
the pride.
The pride, yeah. I had my pants off for most of the time. Then we go to the film. Then we go to well, that's what you do in Cannes. Then we go to the film, and look at these scenes here, magnificent scenes of Moulin Rouge. And, I don't know what you can say about it, Roy. It just brings everything that Moulin Rouge, not that I'm quite sure what it stood for, back to life.
I suppose it does, actually. I mean, Nicole is there. She's sultry, she's talented. Ewan McGregor, of course. She's subsequently said that the two of them haven't had anything going, you know, between the sheets style, and it's all above board.
Right. Do you believe it?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't believe it.
No, good.
But I, like you, H, I'm a little bit confused. Is it the Moulin Rouge that we associate with Toulouse-Lautrec?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the little bloke who...
had one leg.
Was it only one leg? I thought he had two legs, but they were sort of stumpy.
Oh, could it be?
I thought he had stumpy little legs. He's a little bloke, a bit like Tom.
Yeah, well...
A bit like Tom Cruise, about the same height. Real little bloke. Except he used to like daubing.
He painted.
And he painted the Can-Can girls from the Moulin Rouge Club in Montmartre. Is that what it's about?
Oh, don't ask me. I was only there for the pre.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to go in and look at the film.
Right.
They kept me out.
Oh, no, OK.
Yeah, because of my pride.
Yeah.
It was just so,
no,
so
I understand.
proud.
I understand. Well, I'm confused. Because if it is the old Moulin Rouge, it looks a bit modern.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds a bit modern.
It does.
I mean, is Baz trying to...
What,
fuse the new and the old or something?
Probably.
A bit like, Romeo plus Juliet?
Yes. That was his previous film. Anyway, look, we leave that there.
But it's exciting.
It's exciting, and we look forward to it with enormous
it's unfathomable to me. I don't get it. But it's exciting.
Yes. Now, speaking of excitement, it's very, very hard to go past wood chopping for sheer, unadulterated excitement. I don't know what it is about wood...
And blokes.
And a sharp axe. Now, Roy, just before we go to this magnificent coverage of a recent chop-off, how do you see getting kids involved in wood chopping?
Actually, I think you've got to start by getting them a tomahawk at a very young age and treating them and explaining to them how useless timber is unless it's being chopped up. You know, nothing annoys me more than just seeing a tree. I hate it. You know,
You want to get into it?
Sometimes I'm driving along, you know, say between here and Goulburn, or, you know, even if I go, it doesn't matter which way you go. They're bloody everywhere. You know, and it drives me berserk. I just want to stop and get the axe out of the boot and just get in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
just clear. That's when I'd be happy.
Well, what I don't like is those trees, and you see them lurking about the River Murray and so on, that do this to you as you go by. I mean, that's what really gets up my nose. And, you know,
those stupid leafless trees.
Those leafless trees that are underwater, they're still doing that to you.
I know.
Even though they're dead.
Get your nose.
I know, that's right.
Just to get to you.
You know, when I was a kid with a tomahawk, I was lucky enough to have no trees anywhere near, so I attacked the local weeds. Things like Patterson's Curse, Salvation Jane. I used to just chop that down.
Yeah.
Just get my hand in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Well, let's go to...
Anything high, anything above anything.
Get rid of
That's what I say to kids. You see anything above anything?
That's right. Let's have a look at some wood chopping now. These are exciting pictures. Yes, hello everyone and welcome to the Charlie Moses Woodchop Arena at Homebush in Sydney. We've got a tremendous card lined up, Roy, for commentary, and I go goosey whenever I see big lumps of wood staring skywards, begging for an axe. Who's up first?
Actually, this is your tree felling, and this is for people like Matthew Gurr and Mitchell Hewitt, Lindsay Hewitt, the Queensland boys, the Queensland Connection, as we call them, and Dale Beam's a real quality field, and these are people that hate tall things, especially timber. They hate timber.
And they're underway now, and what they have to do is cut these slots into these big bowls and put the plank in so as they can elevate themselves, and then once they're up the top, they whack away at one side, then they come down and they do it all again. It's an exciting competition, isn't it, Roy, as we see Matthew Gurr, closest on screen, looks to be in the lead at the moment.
He does, and it's fraught with danger, HG. I mean, you really got to know your wood, you've got to hate your wood, you've got to know your axe, you've got to trust your axe, and you've got to make a bloody good wedge.
And there's a bloke who's got his axe stuck. I'd disqualify yourself and say I'm a goose, I give up.
I hate seeing that.
And here comes Matthew, down he comes. Now he's got to do it the other way. And of course, if you don't trust your wedge, you can get a fall. And I think we've got a fall up to the top end there, Roy. I don't know whether you saw that out of the edge eyesight. Here's the kid picking himself up, right grin. I'm a goose, I'm stupid. All I can do is disqualify myself, as we see there on replay, the lad coming down. Meanwhile, Matthew, well out in front, I think, by this stage. Here he is, as we see another competitor coming down. Matthew will be up the top of the block, swinging. Here we go.
Here we go.
Take us through these final strokes, Roy.
Right, well, he's got to come down from the top, actually, make this wedge a little bit higher so he can really just knock it over, topple it towards the end, as we call it, toppling the tree. And look at that. He really knows and hates and loathes his wood.
Doesn't he get excited about seeing a bit of hardwood skywards?
Yeah, splinters flying, chips everywhere. He just wants to leave clear felling, just a mess. So it's just bush junk, isn't it? It's just rubbish. Just get rid of it, knock it down.
Well done, Matthew Gurr. A bloke who's knocked over more, as you give us the helicopter there, that's how he gets down. A bloke who's knocked over more trees than Dave Foster. And that's saying something, isn't it?
It is. Speaking of Dave Foster, actually, I think he's coming up a little later on, and what a marvellous feather in the cap that is there for the young Tasmanian there. And speaking of the Tasmanian connection, we've got the Foster brothers coming up, HG, I think...
right after this. Results in the tree felling. Matthew Gurr, Mitchell Hewitt and Mitchell McKenzie. Hats off to those three blokes there. Now we go to the 600mm double-handed saw. We've got a New Zealand team. We've got Pete and Dave Foster in. We've got some Americans and Canadians in. It's a quality international field. Roy, we're almost underway. What's the comp?
You've got to saw through the tree trunk as quickly as possible, HG. So it takes teamwork. I see it as a push and pull event. You've got to be used to pushing and used to pulling at the same time. Look at that. Look at Dave Foster. Look at those Foster brothers. They've pushed and pulled together for years.
You don't want to pull when you have to push, though, Roy. That's the trap for the younger player. We're underway. What's the bloke leaning over doing, though? Helping him there with the hammer.
Oh, he's a chock man, actually. A chock man. He just separates the timber so the saws don't stick.
Very close finish there. New Zealand think they've got it, but I'd like to see a replay. I'd like to see a replay, Roy. I think that's too close to call.
Well, Dave thinks he's out of it.
I'm not calling it. I'm not calling it. We've got to go to the replay and have a look at this one. Here it is. Dave and Pete first, Daylight second, then the New Zealand combination. That's how I'm seeing it, Roy. New Zealand trying to pitch again, something that doesn't belong to them, here in the 600mm saw. Dave worried, but there it is. The result comes through from the judges' commentary box, and that's a tremendous result for the Foster family.
Yes, it is, actually. It's been a marvellous event. Look at that, the Foster, great, the Tasmanian connection all over New Zealand. Good chopping, great blokes.
Yes, and we'd like to thank C7 for those magnificent pictures. And if you're, if you're like Roy and myself and a wood chop freak, then C7 have heaps of wood action coming up later this week. Yeah, heaps.
Heaps.
Tons of it.
Isn't it great how it's going through the roof in Tasmania? You know, we think of Tasmania, obviously, frequently, but whenever we do, we think of their great wood chopping. And I don't know what it is. Isn't it you've got a lot of time on your hands and you just think, oh, what do I do today? Why don't I go out and chop? Let's have a chop. You'd phone up a few mates. What are you doing this weekend? You want to have a chop?
Yeah. Look,
bring your axe.
It's much more in the front of my mind down there. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I reach for the axe, I'm out there. Before I've had a cup of coffee or a fag, I'm whacking into a tree. But I like to get a few done before I settle down for breakfast. I mean, it's right in the forefront of my mind. That's why I love C7, because often they put it on early in the morning. You can be in bed, you come to, click, 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 click. What's that sound? It's the wood chop on, to C7, and I'm there. I'm happening. I'm reaching for the axe and I'm off.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, now that I think about it, it is, maybe a part where they've got a few trees left.
Is that right?
Yeah.
In Tasmania?
I think so. They got one or two
proportionally, they've got more trees, I think, than any other state.
Per head of population.
No wonder they're so annoyed down there.
There'll be more dump in a minute.
Isn't it?
Yeah, oh, no,
Oh,
I can see.
bad.
Yeah, well, they got the face to do. They got to look for the Tasmanian tiger.
Am I with Ansett? Absolutely.
Everyone you see, everyone you know is gonna shine. Absolutely. Shine. Absolutely. Everyone you see, everyone you know is gonna shine. Shine. Fly, fly away with me, and we can be free. Let's fly away. Go, Harvey, you're on the go, Harvey, go, Harvey, go, Harvey, go, Harvey Norman.
Go Harvey Norman for great electrical deals. This LG DVD player comes with a bonus golf gift for $449. Save $100 on this Philips DVD player with dual karaoke function and Dolby Digital decoder built in. Now $499. And pay just $599 for this Pioneer DVD player and receive our Bonosaurus. That's a bonus dinosaur DVD, 5 DVD titles and a discount DVD rental book.
Go, Harvey Norman, go!
If it's in the game, it's on the game.
Have a look at that head.
If it needs clarification...
Well, the laws of the Australian football, it's a great idea to read this after you finish playing too.
Or inspiration.
I was inspired by Ronald Biggs.
We've even got a little aviation.
Hefty clash this.
3 guys who know the game.
Listen, you rock, just sit down the back.
And one whose talent is a total aberration.
I say when you're born, you've got a destiny. His was to be an idiot, and he does it very well.
It's Andrew Jum.
How are you?
The Game, Friday on 7.
This program brought to you by Ford.
Good evening. This is the news from rural and regional Australia. I'm fashion model Chloe Maxwell. Outraged pensioners appear to have thwarted an attempt to limit the number of concession tickets on a vital regional commuter service. Almost 2 years ago, local groups like pensioners and superannuants were celebrating news that the New South Wales state government had introduced a coach link from Bathurst to Lithgow. But last week, passengers in Bathurst were told that only 10 of them were allowed to travel at one time at the concession rate.
You really have to wonder what's going on. It's due to incompetent management as far as I could see, and heads should roll because of this.
CountryLink has responded to the protest by putting a freeze on the new policy of limiting concession tickets. Small business in rural and regional Australia is taking another battering, this time from a colony of flying foxes. Local councils and wildlife officials are set to discuss the problem of 1,500 flying foxes turning tourists away from the Bellingen Caravan Park in northern New South Wales. Chris Mann, who leases the park, says these flying foxes are costing up to $600 a week in lost guests.
A lot of people come in, and especially people with, you know, their brand new caravans, and they say, no, we can't stay here.
A report calling for women to participate in armed combat has been met with a mixed response. But while it is yet to be implemented, female recruits are already learning how to handle weapons at the Kapooka Gunnery Range near Wagga Wagga in New South Wales. If the Defence Force report is adopted, Australia would become the 6th country in the world to have women in the front line. But the rules of combat will come as no surprise to our soldiers. At Kapooka, women as well as men are already being trained to handle and fire powerful mini-mine machine guns.
Have your maximum control over it, because especially with the machine guns, they can go all over the place in a few seconds.
A 52-year-old grandmother from the Hunter region has thrilled her family and friends by being selected to represent New South Wales in a major 10-pin bowling competition. Cecily Walton from Glendale, New South Wales, beat players 35 years her junior to win the coveted place in the team. Amazingly, Cecily took up the sport only a decade ago.
I wished I'd done it when I was about 10-year-old or 9. It's something you can achieve. Get the love out of, bowl for your state, bowl for Australia, go overseas. Oh, it would be magnificent.
Cecily attributes her success to the support of her grandchildren and to the love of the game.
It's just...
And finally, the Eastern Market Indicator wool price of 799 cents per kilo is a drop on last week's close. And the May delivery price for Australian standard hard wheat remains steady at $162 a tonne. That's this week's news from rural and regional Australia, and I'm fashion model Chloe Maxwell.
Tremendous read there, Chloe, in very trying circumstances. Look, Fashion Week, Australian Fashion Week has just finished.
Yep.
And Alex Perry, you were working with Alex Perry. You were wandering around the catwalk with Alex Perry.
Yep.
And here we've got some footage of you in action. I'd just like you to get your thoughts on the clothes here. Sometimes I often think that models must get to the show and think, Christ almighty, is that what I have to wear? Or God almighty, I said I'd never work with Alex Perry again. Here I am, back working with even less than I normally work on.
Show my boobs.
Well, that's the difficulty is you did there, our cameras were there, we just happened to caught them. We weren't looking for them.
Sorry, Mum,
now,
I'm sorry.
How did it go? How did it go? Was it an exciting week, or did you think it...
Yeah, I think it was very exciting. I think it gets better and better every year. I've been there since it started, since the first Fashion Week. Yes. And I think the designers are doing so well now that they're up to international standards, even, if not even better.
Geez, big rap, Roy.
Big rap.
It is.
You can tell I work in the fashion industry.
Yes. No, that's fine. Look, I really love the Subi collection. I don't know if you got a chance to get along and have a look at it.
I was there.
It really talked to me. We might just have a little look at it because I know I saw you there and it was tremendous. It's this rat look. You've got the rats being released. You've got that grungy look. It's very sultry. It's very now. It's that sort of rubbish bin look. It's that homeless look. It's that sad, I'm buggered sort of look. What did you make of it, Chloe? You were obviously excited by it.
I thought it was really good. I thought the rebelliousness of it just drew me.
Yeah.
It was refreshing to see something so different after watching you know,
how did they catch the rats afterwards?
Well, they had little pellets. I don't know, they were sticking them through the...
Yeah, we can see a lot of rat droppings on the catwalk.
One of the girls trod on one of the rats and killed it.
Yes, that can happen. That would be collateral
squashed a
damage.
rat.
Yeah. Was there polite applause in the crowd?
There was.
Yo, way to go!
They carried him off on a little stretcher and stuff.
Now, we noticed you were reading a story about bats. Have you ever had to walk down the runway with bats?
No.
With bats?
No, I
No,
can't
I
say
think that
I have.
could be interesting because apparently Roy was telling me before that bat dung is pretty lively.
Oh, it's very acidic. It'll go through your Duco. I mean, the visitors to Bellingen should well be warned. Now, we had a poll on our program last week, Chloe. It was a simple poll. It simply said Australian Fashion Week is, and the results of which were as follows. The most popular one suggesting it is a magnet for international glamour. 59% of people felt that, clearly a majority. Now, we kept that poll going all week, and by this afternoon, this is the way the poll looked. Makes us proud as punch, 2%. Is a magnet for international glamour, 24%. Gets the blood hot in the trouser, 24%. D is a major embarrassment, 50%. Now,
I think that's a classic case of the tall poppy syndrome.
Beautifully put.
You mean like chopping down a tree?
Should support Australian fashion. It generates a lot of capital for this.
Well, look, I read in the Sunday papers yesterday that Fashion Week internationally, overseas, the reportage isn't good. They said it was dull, that it was drab, that it was derivative. They hated the weather, they hated the look, they hated everything about it. Now, are these the whispers that are reaching you? Because it annoys me. And we had the Premier, Bob Carr, Premier of New South Wales, on this program last week, saying that Fashion Week brings in $50 million to the economy of Australia. Now, if we're being trashed overseas, we can forget it. Forget it. Now, what's your reading of it, Chloe?
I don't know where you're getting your information.
From the Sunday Telegraph or the Sydney Morning Herald? One of those August newspapers. They don't lie. All right, the London Times said it was rubbish. The New York Times said it was rubbish.
I think you're fibbing.
Right.
It could well be. It could well be. Look, one thing I was going to say was that, just on a personal note, you always arrive late for your events at Fashion Week. You know, do you do this by design, or is it just because you've had a hectic schedule?
Well, it's very fashionable to be late.
Yeah.
That's not why I do it, though. No, I think because a lot of the times when you arrive on time, you end up just sitting around bored to tears.
Yeah. Do you get nervous before you step out through the curtain without your bra on?
Oh, well, that footage, what happened there was that they actually made a bustier for me, and it didn't fit me, so I got...
Typical of fashion.
Pushed on stage, right, you're on. And
it happens.
So I really didn't have any say in it. But
I remember years ago, it was a gussetless look.
When you were a model. When you used to model.
Yes, and there were no underpants. There were no underpants.
That's not really my forte.
And so it was a gussetless look without underpants. So it is embarrassing when you've got to show your private bits to the public. But I always tried to get into the mindset of selling the clothes. Is that how it is for you, Chloe, when you go out there?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think I'm selling the clothes for you?
Pretty much.
But no one ever looks as though they're having fun.
Yeah, I know some girls look a bit like they want to be somewhere else.
Somewhere else?
They do, somewhere else.
But I look like I'm having fun, don't I?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I don't think you did.
Oh,
no,
really?
You look bored. You looked as if you were wearing rubbish.
Well, often they brief you before you go on as to what sort of feel they want.
Yeah. What did they say to you?
You look bored. Like the clothes are rubbish.
Well, it worked. Because that's the message they're getting overseas.
Yeah, it would be.
Bored rubbish.
No, I thought it was
I think you're being too harsh.
We are.
Far too harsh.
And the parties, I love the party. I went to the Akira Isagawa party, and God, it was dull.
Yeah.
Now, I saw you leaving as I was arriving. You found it dull, didn't you?
Well, I fell asleep on the couch in a pool of my own drool, so I kind of had to get on. Like...
That can happen, though, Roy.
A pool of drool.
Yeah.
But then you went to another party.
Yeah.
You went to the Pavement magazine party.
Yeah, that was good.
That was great. Then you went to McDonald's before going to bed.
Yeah. I'm going to get in trouble, aren't I?
It's all glamour.
I'm one and everything. We shouldn't be talking about this.
Yes. Now, look, before you go, we've got a couple of terrific things for you to take away. We've got these marvellous Girl Guide biscuits.
Yes,
this is the
dinner!
Chocolate. And there's two varieties. You've got
I haven't eaten since last week.
Well, these are perfect for you now. There's a couple of packets of those.
I'm joking.
Now...
Are you getting a bit fat?
Yeah.
And, look, we've got two pairs of... what we call Federation socks. These socks that celebrate the centenary of Federation that we're in at the moment. Look, they're two fabulous pairs. They're not the liveliest pairs, but I don't know how they look on the catwalk. But then people would probably be not looking at your feet, they might be looking elsewhere. Of course, next time you go down the catwalk, we'd love you to wear the signature of the dump. That's the flap and dunny. And this is a belt buckle. A lot of people have been asking us what it is. It's a belt buckle. And it's a tremendous belt buckle. And maybe next time, regardless of what you're wearing, you know, but be wise, just slip on a belt with this on the front of it. In the meantime, can you please thank Chloe Maxwell?
You can't see it. You can't hear it.
You realise how serious this is?
Something they've never seen before.
How's that boy? I'm afraid to say that he's died.
Is sweeping their town. Wednesday on an all-new Blue Healers.
Am I with Ansett? Absolutely.
Everyone you see, everyone you know is gonna shine. Absolutely. Shine. Absolutely. Everyone you see, everyone you know is gonna shine. Shine.
New Volkswagen Passat. German engineering you'll appreciate.
Every concern you ever had about hair loss is about to be exploded. Because Advanced Hair Studio has now discovered an answer to hair loss. In clinical trials, Advanced Hair Studio actually regrew new hair on 3 out of 4 men. What's more, 100% of them were satisfied with their hair growth. This clinical trial proves it. Your wait is over. Advanced Hair Studio has an answer to hair loss. Call now for free information. 1-800-800-500.
Sal, it's me. You'll never but... Hello? Sal, you'll... Hello?
Telstra Mobile Net. Telstra's indoor coverage makes Telstra Mobile Net far and away Australia's best.
The voice. John Farnham. Yeah, and you won't believe who else is here. Paul Hogan. Yeah.
This is the father who betrayed him.
Do your x-rays and get him out of here. I don't know what his problem is.
Stupid male ego is what it is.
This is the drama that unfolds.
A tumor.
Will a father be forgiven? Gideon's Crossing, Wednesday, 9:30.
It says K Road, turn off, you silly sausage. Ah, here we come. Here we come. Right, introduce yourself to Josh. Josh has come down to play with us.
Hi, I'm
Used to do Oscar. That's... Walk up and introduce yourself properly, like a gentleman does. Oh, you're hopeless. Jake.
Football actually does play a very big social role. One, it keeps kids off the streets of these days, as we all realise that the world's not as great and friendly what it used to be. Keeps them out of mischief for one thing, and socially, with the rules and regulations of a club life, I think they knuckle down the schoolwork better, which serves them better in the long life. And through the sport, they really go a lot better in life at all, right through. You know, you do have your 1 or 2 stray, but I mean, that is life, isn't it? You know what'll happen if you keep standing on them? I'll send you to sit over with your mum somewhere.
No.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I reckon if they took your tally away from you, mate, you'd be lost.
Way back when my eldest son, and I won't tell you how old he is now, he started playing under 9s, under 10s. I decided I'd help the club out and start coaching. I've been doing it ever since, actually.
It's a boy, good stuff. That's the way. That's it. Now get your kick. Good lad, good lad. The skill level's coming up better. Come on, Josh, let's see your skills. Come on.
I spend probably anything up to 40, 45 hours a week on football during the football season, and probably about 50 hours a week at work. And other than that, like football administration, I probably attend 2 to 3 meetings a week after tea of a night and sit down, and then I have work here. I'm here every Saturday, I'm here every Sunday. I do get Monday night off, which is the sit down on the couch and just vegetate night at home.
He'll live at least till Monday. Just go and get Gloria to check it out for him.
Probably over a period of 10 years, it probably cost me $10,000, and I don't mind. I think that the lovely thing is you walk down the street now and you've coached someone 20 years ago and it's hello, Mr. Bell, how are you? And they've got a 2 or 3 year old kiddie in tow themselves, you know, and everybody sort of still stays, and the feeling still stays of the friendship, the familyship that we like to think we've got here.
Yes, Peter Bell there with the Williamstown Seagulls under-11s, and he does put in some hours, doesn't he? But when you add up the, what was it, 60 hours a week at work and 45 hours a week at football, which 105 hours a week, haven't quite done the maths.
There's only 168 hours in a week.
Forget that.
And he's got to get a bit of sleep, I suppose, every now and again.
Every third day.
Yeah.
Look, coaches have never been under more stress. In rugby league, we've had the incident in the past week where Tim Sheens, the coach of the Far North Queensland Cowboys, has had to take stress leave. We've got a couple of sides that look as though they're in a bit of trouble with the season already, and we'd like to highlight those now. One is the Sydney Swans, and we pick up the play here yesterday from the Swans up the big pack forms against Brisbane. Swans, O'Loughlin goes for a kick, and then unfortunately gets a point, so he's very disappointed with himself. Here's Creswell running through the middle, a beautiful run, and then what does he do? He simply kicks the ball to a Brisbane opponent, and so that diffuses that. Here's a bloke with glad wrap wrapped all around his ankle. I'm not sure whether that's a modern technique or just something the club's dreamed up. The pressure on the coach. There's a man under pressure. The one on the left, there's the coach of the Sydney Swans, Rodney Eade. He's and then we move on to the West Tigers. Here's Penrith, not the greatest club in the world at the moment, but nonetheless, and a beautiful kick there from the Tigers, failing to do anything at all. There's a former player wrestling with a beard, and here's the Brains Trust, the Tigers Brains Trust. Bar Lamb on the right and Jared McCracken on the left there, and they're under a lot of pressure as well. Roy, it's a difficult time for coaches because of the enormous pressure, the amount of money in the game, the players and the demands of players who often earn more than you. You know, what puts coaches under most pressure in your mind?
It's inherently stressful, isn't it, HG? You've got to motivate players, and you've got to get them to get a skill level and to have the confidence to produce that skill out in the middle. But the problem is that you're not out there doing it. You can't do it for them. No. And so there's that frustration of seeing, you know, what's got to happen, but it's not happening. So you've got to badger them. You know, you can ask them to do it, and then they don't. You can be patient, ask them again to do it, then they don't. You can get angry with them and shout, will you do it?
No.
Will you do it?
Well, I try.
They get out there and they don't do it. You can punish them. If you bloody well don't do it this time, then it'll be, you know, 8 times around the oval and bloody well, I'll do this and I'll burn your car and I'll bloody blah, blah, blah. They don't do it again.
And what the most...
And then you try psychology. Listen, you go out there and if you can do this for me, listen, if you can go out and do this for me, honestly, I bet you can't do 10 tackles for me today. Can you try that?
Okay.
Out they go, and they don't. And then you resort to desperate means. You say, please do it for me.
Who?
For me.
Who are you?
That's right. They don't do it. And yet then that's when the stress comes.
Yes.
You've gone through every level. You've tried every trick in the book. You know, you threaten to slaughter their families. Nothing will work.
And the weird thing is they don't realise they're not doing it.
No, that's probably right. They can't see what you want. What do you want us to do? Win. What? Win. What?
OK, you've gone through all these steps. At the end of the week, you're still lost. How does that stress express itself once you're away from trying to cajole players or telling them what you want done? The 10 tackles. I mean, it's an old familiar story, isn't it? But then at home, when there's no one there to tell the 10 tackles to, how do you feel?
Well, you feel like rubbish.
Do you?
There's nothing you do. You're like a coiled spring.
Are you?
And that's when you get high blood pressure, heart attacks. I mean, you can die. It can kill you.
Can it?
Stress is the biggest killer in this country.
Is it?
Yes.
Football stress is the biggest...
Football stress
is the biggest killer in this country. Do doctors know about that? Do the ambulance drivers hear? Often you hear, where are you going? I'm going down to the footy club. You know, coaches just can't...
Well, it's more stressful than being a heart surgeon.
Is it?
Or a dentist. Or a police person. Or an ambulance person.
Sports commentator.
Sports commentator.
Yeah.
Far more stressful than that.
Is it?
I reckon it is.
Yeah?
I mean, it'd be just as stressful as being a coach of a surgeon.
Oh, right.
Or a coach of an ambulance person. Or a coach of a dentist. You know, when you go and get that... go on. No, not there, not there.
Yeah.
Now, know what I mean? It's
you...
the not being able to do it yourself.
Yes. What can you do about it? What can you do about that stress? You know, punching bag in the back, you know, maybe chop down a tree. You know, have a hobby, get you away from thinking about the problems of, you know, Idiot Smith not doing anything, not doing the things you tell them. You tell them once, they don't do it, they come back, Idiot Grin, on Idiot Smith. You know, what can you do? What can you do?
I've often found the hobbies useful. Say stamp collecting or coin collecting.
Few magazines under the bed, right? That sort of thing. That sort of hobby.
Something that gets your mind somewhere else. And sure, I mean, if you're more happy with your mind in your trouser, that might be the one for you. Personally speaking, I'd go with the stamps.
Yes. Now, what's the worst case you've encountered, Roy? You've been around footy for a long time. What's the worst case you've encountered?
A coach trying to pull his head off.
Is that right?
Trying to pull his own head off. In a Dodger, you know, pull the door on it and trying to... I was on the other side and I just saw this bloke really in trouble. I thought someone was pushing against the door. I said, Grassy, are you all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. What am I doing? You're trying to pull your own head off. Bloody hell, I must be stressed. Where's my stamp collection?
That's right. And if you are stressed, I'm sure this will relieve the pain.
Oh, yes.
The short break.
Oh, right.
Next, the government's offer to the victims of the HIH collapse. An accused war criminal faces a Melbourne court, and the first drawings of Mickey Mouse for sale.
The moment no one expected.
This affects you both.
Adam and Rachel face their biggest fear.
I'm afraid there's a problem.
An episode no one should miss.
I think we should split up.
An all-new Cold Feet, Tuesday 9:30 on 7.
We were one of the few work teams over there that actually worked directly with the East Timorese, like they were part of our construction gang. We spoke to them and said, look, we would like to do something for the community. Is there something special we could do for you? The church itself was in really bad repair. It didn't have a roof on it at all. It wasn't so much a spiritual thing as a very nice thing to be a part of for me, yeah.
Listen, mate, I'm going into a very important business meeting, and I really don't need any interruption.
Yeah, OK, fair enough.
But look, if you need me, send me an SMS message.
Well, how do I do that?
Mate, it's easy. You can work it out. I'll call you back later.
Yeah, all right.
Send an SMS text message for only 22 cents. Telstra Mobile Net, far and away Australia's best.
Hey, wait. That message thing work?
Yeah, I got the message, mate.
The critics have spoken. 15 minutes is stunning. De Niro is brilliant.
Thrill of the hunt. You want headlines? Shoot me!
You won't forget this movie. 15 minutes.
When I decided to be a mechanic in the Army, I mean, one of the big things for me was that I got my qualification. So even if I leave the Army later on, I'm still a recognised mechanic in Civvy Street.
Roy, look, if you are at all stressed, one really good thing, and this is getting a lot of kids involved, is this rugby league sticker book. I've never seen a better promotion for a rugby league than this, the sticker book, where you get the sticker book and then you get these sheets of rugby league stickers, which you peel off and then stick in the appropriate slot in the sticker book. And I'd like to draw your attention to figure number 221. This one, hang on, here. It's none other than John Hopewade. They haven't forgot him in rugby league sticker world. He's still there. He's still playing. He's still doing the date finger. It's a tremendous story. A tremendous story of a lad who left league and went to be a plumber and came back doing what he did originally.
That's tremendous, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, oh no, that's right. That'll cure stress. The internet poll, actually, we have results, and the poll was, from memory, the Lithgow Panther A sounds really dangerous, 22%. Sounds really interesting, 15%. Sounds really ancient, 7%. Sounds like rubbish, 56%.
Now, how many voted, Roy? How many, have you got any idea on numbers, raw numbers?
15,110 people.
Wow! Congratulations, Australia, and we'll be feeding those results through to the Lithgow Mayor right after the show. Now, we haven't had a lot of email action this week, Roy. Where do you want to start?
Well, I've got one here, actually. I'm a Year 10... This is Paul Skeen from Victoria. I'm a Year 10 student, and I was outraged to hear that only primary students were going to get the Federation medals. At the start of the year, there was a campaign saying all Australian students would get medals. I was deeply crushed. Even the Prime Minister said that all students across Australia will receive medals. It's a bloody disgrace, he says, a disgrace.
A disgrace.
An outrage. I agree with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought all Australians would get one.
Did you?
I did, all Australians.
What, through the mail?
Through the mail.
It'd be a pretty worthless medal. I mean, if you can find it to students, at least it'd have some value, i.e. the oldies wouldn't have it.
Well, you keep it and you pass it on. You know, how many, what, 23 million of us, that's 23 medals. Yeah. Well, when the country's 106 million, they'd be worth something.
Yeah, true, true. Now, look, before we go on, we have got our own offering towards the Centenary of Federation, and that's the Dumpster Awards scheme, which we should run through now again because we've had a lot of interest in it. Roy.
We have. I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah,
I'm overwhelmed
is that how you're saying?
at the response, HG. Yes. And the scheme is, as you know, there are a number of categories. Yes. I don't know if we can have those categories on the screen. Yes, there's the green dumpster for planting trees. Yes. There's the blue, is it? The blue next? Yes, blue dumpster for waterways, helping out cleaning the waterways. There is the brown, is it next?
No,
yes.
Purple.
Purple for community service, helping out people in need.
Then you go to your brown.
Then we go to the brown dumpster, which is for sewage, helping out with sewage, and the white dumpster for assisting in or encouraging world peace. Yes. And if you get them all, then you get the Queen's Dumpster Award, which is the flying dunny, the flapping dunny belt buckle. Yes. But make sure what you do is verified by Justice of the Peace. So we do want verification, either photograph or in letter, with a verification by Justice of the Peace, and you can win those awards if you are 18 years or younger.
18 years or younger, yes, something for the kids there. Now, I've got one here. I don't know if you're serious about Federation Kiddies Club or not, but just in case you are, could you know, how about organising a game or a board game which features pinning the beard onto Sir Henry Parkes? Now, that is a tremendous idea. That comes from Peter Roddier in Geraldton, Western Australia, and I like that idea. A simple game like pin the tail on the donkey, you get the beard, and there's the buffhead on the wall. You go up and make the buffhead complete by putting the beard on him. I think that's
a beautiful idea.
It's tremendous, and something for...
Very Australian.
Very Australian, of people of all ages also could participate.
Something for everyone.
Yeah, blindfold on, off you shoot.
Ashraf from Sydney, she's got in touch. He says here he's noticed the huge billboards around Sydney featuring Michael Klim allegedly saying he's absolutely with Ansett. But have you really looked at these pictures, he says? It ain't Michael Klim. Well, not in the flesh. It appears to be a picture of Michael Klim's wax image. Please look into this and let me know. Is Michael Klim really absolutely with Ansett or not? And we did have another email suggesting they saw Michael Klim on a Qantas flight. Yeah. Well, so I don't know if he is absolutely with Ansett or not.
Well, the wax image is.
We will look into it. Yeah. Somebody else has suggested that I might have been associated being absolutely with Ansett. Can I just say I've had nothing to do with Ansett? Yeah. It's an absolute mystery to me. If there's a look-alike, I'll be seeing the Ansett people in court.
I've got a beauty here too.
But don't get me wrong, I love a really old plane.
Yeah.
I
do. We both love really old planes, and I like a plane with cracks on the pylons that hold the engine.
Oh, yeah, I like a motor falling off and that sort of stuff. Makes it exciting. Are we going to get there or not?
Yes, now, this week in Darwin, we've got the 2001 Annual National Dragon Boat Championships. This is really the sleeping giant of world sport, this Dragon Boat Championship, isn't it, Roy? I mean, it's just big blokes and putting the oar in the water and having a go over a couple of miles. I mean, it looks stupid, but it must be a whole lot of fun or they wouldn't do it. So congratulations to the organisers, and that's the 16th to 17th. I'm sure C7 will be covering it. When they're not covering wood chopping, they'll be doing dragon boat racing. So if you're a dragon boat freak like Roy and myself, you'll know where to look for your dragon boat action. And one final one, Roy.
Just a quick one, HG. This comes from Vigilante X in Sydney.
Yes.
My friend said the word arse clown is not a real one. And I was wondering if you could mention the word arse clown on national TV just once, so it could be a little bit more official. It would mean a lot. Well, strictly speaking, I suppose it is almost two words, but you could fuse them together, couldn't you? I saw a really odd arse clown the other day. Did you?
Right.
What was he doing? Nothing much. So there you go, arse clown.
Well, it's
a welcome addition to the canon of our English language.
I'd like to see it say on the front of this here, you know, this just taking a headline from neither here nor there, you know, gallery purchase nude arse clown. Do you know what I mean? I can see it really working and coming back into a lot of things. You know...
Arse clown, absolutely.
Well, that's right. Archbishop Arse Clown next GG. You know, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And it just to popularise the word through the show would be tremendous.
Yeah.
But speaking of the show, that's it for tonight, and we hope you can join us next week for more Monday Dunk. See you then. Bye.